What's going on, housemates? Marcelo here, and I'm recording this video the day after Arsenal's 3-0 win against Monaco at the Emirates. A big result that moves us up to third in the Champions League table. What was a frustrating night, it has to be said. I know I don't want to be complaining too much because obviously we won 3-0, kept a clean sheet. Really good in terms of where we are now in terms of finishing top 8 and avoiding the playoff round before the round of 16. But before I really get into the game, I want to welcome anyone who might be new to Wenger's house. Yesterday, I was fortunate enough to join AFTV in their studio. So thank you to the guys at AFTV for having me on. It was a pleasure being part of the watch along. And so I think at least a few of you have just joined the Wenger's House community following my appearance on AFTV yesterday. So for anyone who's new, thank you for subscribing and thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it a lot. So getting into the game, now I have to hold my hand up immediately because, as you may have seen, I was calling for Kieran Tierney to start in this game. And, I've always been a big fan of Miles Lewis-Skelly. And so I'm actually a little bit disappointed in myself for shouting Tierney instead of Lewis-Skelly, because realistically, it just makes more sense for Lewis-Skelly to have started. And, as a huge fan of his, I'm so happy that he did because, as we'll get into, he was Saka one man of the match and he deserved it. But Lewis-Skelly was, just a different level, man. So exciting. So Lewis-Skelly started at left back, Partey started at right back, Kivior center back, and then we had a starting midfield of Rice, Odegaard, and Marino for the first time ever. So that was exciting to see as well. And then we had our traditional. Well, no, sorry, Gabriel Jesus came in for Kai Havertz. And so it was a decent lineup. Monaco is a good side as well. But, obviously Arsenal should be expecting to take 3 points every time, especially at home against a side like Monaco. And it was a first half where we should have scored 3 or 4 goals. We weren't all too creative from open play, I have to say. But we still mustered a few chances. The first one, of course, came with an incredible long ball from Jakub Kivior, and I'm really sad that I didn't give him more credit. I'm going to say that a couple times today, but I wish I gave him more credit for his performance and that pass specifically, because the issue is that beautiful pass was sort of overshadowed by Gabriel Jesus's miss. He was through on goal. He had enough time. He had enough of the goal to aim at. You have to score that chance every time, especially, like I said before the game, in the video before the game, for someone who has scored only 1 goal this season, and it was his first goal since January, and that came in the, Carabao Cup against Preston. So he really needed that goal, man, and it hurt to see him miss it. And then not too long after that, he had another chance. Now, this chance was much less straightforward, and, he deserves some credit for how he, opened it up for himself. He had a really nice first touch, and he was able to, get himself in front of the defender. But then he ended up taking a touch too many, which allowed Kerrer to get back and make a good block and then force a decent save out of the Monaco keeper. So that's 2 chances for Jesus, 1 glaring and 1 less so. And then, we had another moment where, and I believe that the second Jesus chance was also from a Monaco mistake, but I could be wrong. So I'm sorry if I'm wrong there. But we then had a third chance where it was absolutely a mistake from Monaco. Our high press paid off, and Martin Odegaard was able to steal the ball off of an unprepared Monaco defender. He's, really one-on-one. And again, this Martin Odegaard is not someone who's ever really in those situations. So I didn't have the utmost confidence, frankly, in terms of how he was going to approach his finish. But it was, underwhelming, to say the least. He did miss, again, maybe the goalkeeper does well to close it down, but when you're one on one against the keeper, you know, you gotta at least put it on frame, force a save, right? I was thinking maybe he could have scooped it. I don't know. But thankfully, the first goal did come, and that was largely thanks to Miles Lewis Skelly, the 18-year-old midfielder by trade who is being deployed as an inverted left back for Mikel Arteta by Mikel Arteta. Lewis Skelly was, 15 or so yards into our midfield, right past the halfway, the circle. Rides a challenge really well and, gets around Monaco player, sees Jesus finding a little pocket on the left-hand side, plays a great ball into him. And Jesus, to be fair to him, played a really nice cross across the box to Saka, who ultimately tapped in for, an easy finish, an open goal. So that goal was really, just Miles Lewis Skelly all over it. And it was just so beautiful to see. Obviously, another Hale End graduate, really exciting young player who has everything it takes to have a long-term future at the club. And another Champions League goal for Saka, man. I mean, what can you say about him? He's just too good. And there was always the narrative of before we were back in the Champions League. Oh, what can you do in the Champions League? Well, what are they going to say now, right? That. So, anyways, it's 1-0. We go into that, and there were a couple other chances, I have to say, right? Partey played a nice ball into the box. Martinelli got a shot off. Wasn't an easy chance because the ball was bouncing. It was sort of in the air, so he had to side foot it. Could he have tried to just smash it with his laces? Maybe, but it's not an easy chance. You would hope that he at least puts it on target as well, but, it is what it is. And then there was another chance, though, where he absolutely should be hitting the target and scoring. I got a little bit of flack on AFTV for saying that he has that Henry finish in him, but he does. I'm not making this up. I'm not someone who just exaggerates and compares players to legends for the sake of running an agenda. There have been at least, I want to say, 4 or 5 Martinelli finishes where he's able to open up his body and find the far post in a way that Henry was so well known for. The most immediate example that comes to mind for me is against Everton, I think last season, if not 2 seasons ago, where Fabio Vieira played a really nice through ball to him and then he finished it off. But anyways, so a few big chances, and Martinelli was offside there. Sorry if I didn't mention that already. He was offside, so it wouldn't have counted. But again, with VAR, you never know if they might call it back if he does score. So you want to put it away anyways, even just for the sake of building up some more confidence. So we go into the break 1-0 up, and it very much feels like one of those games where you might get punished for not taking your chances because that's just what happens in football. And Monaco came out swinging in the second half. Fair play to Adolf Hutter. I forget how you say his name, the Monaco manager, but he's a really quality manager. Made some tweaks, and Monaco looked really strong, and they were threatening early on in the second half. They were sort of in the ascendancy. They had possession. They had a lot of possession. At one point, they had 5 shots to our 1 in the second half. And it was really nervy, we were pretty vulnerable, and we were perhaps lucky that we didn't concede. Mbolo had a really nice moment where he let the ball run across him and sort of took 2 defenders out by doing so. And then he had to swivel and hit it first time, which is always a difficult skill to pull off. And he wasn't that far from putting it on target, at least. So, they were knocking on the door, but thankfully our hard work paid off. And we finally doubled our lead through Bukayo Saka, thanks to Kai Havertz, who came on and he really changed the momentum in the game, it has to be said. We know how tirelessly he works, and so, we got to give him props for that, even though I did say in the live stream, and I do feel that, as my boy Chris said, I think he is the most upgradable position, it has to be said. He's still, a great option to have, and his numbers don't lie. He's scored his fair share of goals, a lot of goals for us since he joined after a difficult start. But there are a lot of limitations to his game that do sometimes leave us lacking on the ball and in getting more players involved in our attack, namely Martinelli, of course. So he presses, Monaco's playing out from the back, trying to keep possession, and then Kai Havertz pounces on sort of a loose pass or an under hit pass. So the keeper sort of has to hesitate and wasn't able to get to it. And it falls to Saka's feet, and he again finishes into what is more or less an open goal. So 2-0 to Arsenal, a brace for Saka, and that brought it. Well, hold on, because we then scored a third goal. I think while before it was 2-0, actually, there was a moment, sorry, going back, where Trossard was played in from a really nice play by Kai Havertz, I think, actually. He showed some really nice tech, to be fair to him. Anyways, Trossard is away. It's a 2-on-1 with Odegaard in the middle. I think Trossard again takes one or two touches too many before he should have, squared it to Odegaard. Now, I would not have been confident with Odegaard in that position. Maybe he would have found a way to get it back to Trossard again. I don't know, but, don't want to nitpick, but that was a chance we had. Anyways, going back to the third goal, Bukayo Saka, it seems to me like he took a shot, but who knows? At the same time, I haven't watched the highlights again today, but it didn't seem like it was on target. So knowing him, he could well have just been trying to put it in the path of Havertz, knowing that he's got that instinctive touch in him. And I was shocked that the goal was given to Havertz because it very clearly comes off Kerrer last. And yes, if your touch is on target, then it's your goal. But it didn't look to me like it was because Kerrer's touch dramatically changed the flight of the ball. But Havertz claimed it, as you must do shamelessly as a striker, as someone who's supposed to be scoring goals. And Saka got the assist for it. So that brings Saka to 14 goals and assists in the Champions League since he started playing in the competition last season, which is remarkable. It's simply remarkable, and he's world class. And those numbers put him up there with the best players in Europe. We're talking about Harry Kane and Vinicius Jr. So there's no two ways about it. He's that guy now. And he's been that guy for a little while now. And, maybe some rival fans are still slow to appreciate or accept or recognize that, but that's not our problem, I guess. So, from there on out, it was great to see Nwaneri get on the pitch. Timber came on at left back. Lewis Skelly only played about 65 odd minutes. As nice as it would have been to see him continue playing and play for most, if not all, of the game, he did return from injury not too long ago. And like Nwaneri, he's still a kid and we have to manage his minutes. I said on AFTV that, you look at the Wilshere situation, Jack Wilshere, who really made me fall in love with Arsenal. He admitted himself that he wasn't as professional as he should have been in his recovery. But, had his minutes been managed better, he may not have suffered from the endless streak of injuries that he had that really ruined his career, frankly. I mean, he retired at 29, I believe. So it's good to see Lewis Skelly's minutes being managed and monitored the way that Nwaneri's are. So apologies for that. My phone ran out of storage. But yeah, as I was saying, great for these guys to be slowly integrated into the team, and they both are going to have a great future. Hopefully at Arsenal, and I think it will be at Arsenal. Mikel Arteta's handling it really well. But, I guess another talking point would be that Raheem Sterling yet again did not come on, and I think it just further goes to show how last minute that loan signing was in nature, and frankly how poor of a signing it was. I just don't think he's going to have much of an impact this season. Not as big of one as we hoped, and we were maybe falsely excited about because of how last minute the deal was and how opportune it seemed at the time, maybe. Although I think a lot of us still had that sense of it being desperate. But anyways, so we are now in third place in the Champions League table. Great position to be in with 2 games left. We have Dinamo Zagreb at home. We should be winning that game comfortably, of course. And then Girona away will be a difficult game. Liverpool, had a tough time there, but we have to believe in ourselves, especially after that 5-1 win at Sporting. So, Everton next. We should feel confident, and hopefully it seems like Timber will probably be fully fit to start that game. So I think Lewis Skelly will start at left back again. And other than that, well, Havertz coming back in for Jesus, I would keep the same midfield. I think Rice, Marino, and Odegaard deserve more minutes together, and I think that they can be a formidable midfield if they're given the time to gel. So again, thank you for watching, everyone. To anyone who's new, who first saw me or saw me for the first time yesterday on AFTV's live stream or the fan cam afterwards, thank you so much for tuning in yesterday, as well as for today's video. If you made it this far, I watched it back last night, and I do think I talked far too much, or at least a little too much. So I got to work on, sorting out my scatterbrain and picking my moments a bit. But, I was excited and I had a lot of fun for a first one. So I hope you enjoyed it as well. So make sure you subscribe, like, comment, turn on notifications, all that stuff. And I will be back with you tomorrow, probably, if not early Saturday, to preview our game against Everton. So enjoy the rest of your week and have a great start to your weekend. If I don't talk to you before then, housemates. And yeah, as always, come on, you Gooners. Come on, you Gunners. I hate when I do that. Peace, everyone.